Welcome to Discussions on Great Leadership. My guest today is Steiner Hjelle, who hails originally from the beautiful country of Norway. Steiner is a highly accomplished HR executive with over 25 years of experience within large-scale organizations. He's a global leader. He specializes in leadership and executive development, talent and change management, strategic planning, organizational effectiveness, organizational development. So Steiner, with all your long experience in leadership development in so many various large organizations, tell me, what does the term great leadership mean to you?
That's a good question. I have had many great leaders, and I've been thinking about some of those characteristics these people have had. Not a big surprise to you. I would say number one is critical to establish trust. You cannot lead if you don't have trust.
Absolutely.
But in order to build trust, there's various different other things that I'm looking for. One is honesty and integrity, and those are critical elements to build the trust too. So how can you expect your employees to be honest if you lack those qualities yourself? If you don't have any followers, if you don't do that, or like President Eisenhower said too. He said the supreme quality of leadership is unquestionably integrity. And in integrity, what I've seen in companies too, such as GE, for instance, is part of the values, but it's overarching all of the values. Because if you don't have integrity, you don't belong in the company, and you're not certain of the leader. I think it's also important for leaders to talk about the vision and purpose of the team. And like Jack Welch said, good leaders create vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. So for you as a leader, you need to have that vision, but you also need to have that line of sight to what you do and what your team is doing too. Confidence, it's important for leaders to have confidence, because if you aren't unsure about your decisions or qualities, then your team will never follow you. It's important for you to inspire others. That's how you're driving people to the task, to the vision, to the work. Passion and commitment. If you want your team to give their all, you have to show your passion for the work, passion for the goals, passion for the vision. Good communicator. It's a given one too. You need to be a really good communicator. For you to be a leader, you need to clearly, articulate and communicate your vision to the team and tell them the strategy to achieve the goals. It would be difficult for you to, get the results you want if you don't do that. Accountability. Many people look at accountability as negative, but I don't look at it as negative. As a good leader, you take a little bit more of the blame when something goes wrong, and a little bit less of the credit when something goes well, because the credit needs to go to your team as well too. Delegation and empowerment. Really need to empower your people to have the responsibilities for work. Delegation is not giving away work that you don't like, but delegation goes together with empowerment to give them the tasks. You need to be creative and innovative as a leader, so you can really stand out from the crowd. You need to show empathy, for your teams, for their feelings, their pain, and you need to work with them to try to find some good solutions. Resilience is something that comes up often too. And our latest CEO, he was really passionate about that skill. I would say also emotional intelligence is important too. To manage the emotional effective and be socially aware, you need to really work on conflicts and work on those resolutions, knowing where people are coming from. More humility is important. I would also say transparency. Transparency is probably the best way to win the trust of your followers, by being transparent. So strategies and goals, that's not only reside in the executive office. It's something that needs to be transparently communicated throughout the organization. And I'm sure there's many more too, but these are a few of the things that I find important, but many of them are building up to what I started with trust.
I love the fact that you have that long list. I can see why you've been successful in developing leaders in the several organizations that you've worked with. You've got that checklist. You know exactly how to develop those skills. I also loved your comment on accountability, and I would add to that. I think you have to hold others accountable as a leader, particularly your peers. I think when peers don't hold each other accountable, that to me is the difference between a good leader and a great leader. A great leader will hold his peers or his or her peers accountable, and I think that's what we saw in the Volkswagen situation where they got caught in the cheating scandal. You know, no one held each other accountable. It's like, well, that's not my department. We'll let those engineers run amok down there. I loved also the way you talk about the vision throughout the organization. So, can anyone be a great leader? Can somebody at a supervisor level or a first-time leader or a mid-level leader, can they be great leaders at their level as well?
Yeah, sometimes it has been stated that, you're not necessarily born as a great leader, but you can become a great leader. And I think everyone can be a great leader, whether or not you're a CEO, a mid-level manager, junior manager, factory worker, and janitor for that matter too. The one who leads from the front is a leader. The one that sets example is a leader. The one who walks the talk is a leader. The one who takes responsibility is a leader. The one who influences others is a leader, and who makes a difference to others is a leader. And I think also, becoming a leader is a lot of doing, experiencing, not sitting down in a classroom. And I think what I have seen, many times too, is that the best way to see real leadership potentials is during the tough times. Who is really stepping up during the tough times? And often, the hard times, produces the best leaders. So whoever coming out from the hard times, that's been stepping up, taking accountability, responsibility, and solving this or taking the team through it is certainly a leader.
Yeah, particularly the tough times we're going through. Speaking of that, what do you think about what are the challenges that good leaders and great leaders face when they're managing remotely, which up until February was kind of rare, but now everyone's having to manage and lead remotely. What are some of the challenges you see in that area?
Yeah. It's a strange situation we're in right now. So many people working remotely, which is working out, quite well for many people. Many other people too, they're juggling, the work and household work and parental skills, or if you're caring for your own parents, including fear of the infection, that you don't want to be infected, and the job loss can certainly put a big dent in performance, motivation, and productivity. The few things that I find important for a leader, during these tough times, is to focus on distractions at work. Where you can really encourage your employees to embrace the distractions to make the best of the time. You can suggest ways for them how to solve some of these issues and practice better time management. You want to work with your team to understand the challenges and establish flexible work hours that are feasible for both of you. So I think you see many people working from home that have these distractions that it might be better for them to work from like 6 to 9 in the morning and then take care of the kids and other things that they need to take care of, and then maybe from 2 to 7 or 8 o'clock at night time too, wherever they have the right time, because then they won't have those distractions. What's also is an issue that we need to work on as a leader too, is that people feel disconnected and they feel social isolation from the normal work environment. Because they're used to being in the office, they used to just talk to the people in the office next to them. Now it's a little bit harder. Now it relies on technology, so they can't necessarily reach out like they used to do. So you really need to make sure that they can reach out and stay connected, and really see how it can help solving those disconnected environments and feeling isolated. Things that you can do as a leader is you need to think more creative way, I would say, about how the organization can function and thrive in the long term by fostering the company culture in the remote workforce, because they need to live that culture too. Equip them with the right technology and productivity tools. Technology is great now, but you really need to train them how to use them in the best possible way too. Give the employees freedom to work, like I mentioned too. How and when they want is critical to ease the burden on their shoulders in difficult times. I'm lucky that my kids are out of the house, so I feel distracted about that. Sometimes my wife is working, from home. So the two of us are sitting in various different conference close to each other too. So we really need to share that space too. And of course, our dog, when our dog sees other dogs too, it starts barking. And
Right, right.
and we just need to get familiar with that. Foster the communication in the remote workplace is important. I would recommend establish daily check-ins. Have about 15 minutes each morning, for instance, and have a check-in that people really are talking about what's on their mind that day. Keeping the company's culture alive, and you can encourage employees to do something more fun with the team too. Have them share the photos of the home office space, share funny stories, videos, share recipes or outdoor activities that you have been doing too, just so they can be feeling connected and feeling heard. What I also have seen, some people do too, is really encourage this, virtual fun, such as, joint breakfast, lunches, or happy hours. Yeah, and sharing what they have for lunches and breakfast. It's also important for you as a leader, with help from HR, to use to train, coach, and support the managers how to lead employees remotely, because I think many managers are just starting from scratch. It's a whole different environment.
It is.
You really need to teach them that. And last but not least is to make employees feel that we are all in it together, because not only the employees are working remotely, but we are working remotely too. So we need to make sure that we are all in this together.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think we're going to have to add flexibility and agility to that long list you had at the beginning. Great leaders now have to be flexible and agile as well, I think. Last question for you, Steiner. What's one leadership practice you keep at the forefront of your mind at all times? What's the one thing that you kind of always go back to, that you're focused on?
For myself is clarity. Really providing clarity about what people's responsibilities are, what the employees' goals are, what I'm working on myself, clarity on the vision and the strategy, but then also clarity about how the vision and strategy is connected into the goals of the employees. So they feel that they're not working in a small space, but to really contribute to the strategy of the company. Because without that clarity, I think it will be hard to manage and work as employees for that matter too.
I love that. I call that my course is like clear line of value. You're trying to explain to everyone what value do they bring to their work, what value do they bring to the team, and how's the team contributing value to a strategy, whether it's a corporate strategy or a department strategy or a cross-functional strategy. So that was really good. Well, I appreciate your time today, Steiner. You've been listening to Steiner Hjelle, who, as I said earlier, has 25 years of senior HR leadership experience. Great experience. You can tell by his responses today in leading talent and change management. So this has been Discussions on Great Leadership. I'm your host, Stephen Howard. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll get notified when we upload more discussions on great leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.